We're all getting old at one point, right? Unless something tragically happens, of course. But we don't want to deal with getting older while we're young, and I get that. That didn't stop me from moving into a retirement home, not to work or anything, but to live there. So I did. What was supposed to be 1 year ended up being over 5. Sounds strange? It was. So in this video, I'll share what I learned throughout the years living among people in their final chapters of life. And I've sorted it out in 4 parts. What I learned by living inside a retirement home. How being that close to death every day changed the way I live today. Why I think everyone should experience living in a retirement home. And I'll give you 3 key lessons that really helped me, and I think you might like them too. If you ever struggled a little bit with life, or if you ever struggled finding your purpose or your meaning, you're just curious about how to live more true to you, then this video is for you. Hello friend and welcome. And if you're new here, my name is Lars Erik. I am a storyteller living in cold little Norway. I'm trained in the art of storytelling, but what really drives me are the questions we ask ourselves and the strange little ways we try to answer them. And that curiosity has led me on some fun adventures. It's led me across Europe, it's led me all the way across Norway, and it's led me to Uganda, interviewing a lot of people about what it means to be human today. But today I want to talk about one adventure in particular, the time I said yes to moving into a retirement home. So let's get into it. Number 1, what I learned by living inside a retirement home. So to give some details, I thought that moving into a retirement home would be all cozy. It would be like visiting grandma and grandpa, just talking to them, sipping some tea, shitting on the neighbors, and just having a good time. And sure, it was, and it is kind of that as well, but shocked me at first when I moved in was how sick so many of them were. And I didn't expect that to be so heavy, because I hadn't fully understood that what I was moving into were more of a care facility kind of than a retirement home. So yes, it is a retirement home. They are retired, but they move here because they need care first. It truly is a place where people are in their last phases of life. That really struck a chord in me because I didn't have that understanding of it. But I learned quickly that even people in their last chapter of life really enjoy living, and a lot of them want to live as long as they can. But I did see that a lot of habits that people have had throughout their lives, like they matter. They matter so much. Some had taken care of themselves and seemed to me aging a little bit better than others. Others struggled a lot, and that kind of struck a chord in me. And so I did see that, but also I did see how habits form the last chapter. But what really also surprised me about this was that you adapt. As humans, we adapt so quickly. Of course, it was so strange at the beginning, and it was kind of overwhelming with all the sounds, with the smell, with kind of everything that comes with a place like this. Also, it kind of hurts when you connect with someone and then you build a relationship with them, and then a few months later they get really sick and then they pass away. But then, as I said, you adapt so quickly to it, and then it kind of becomes a part of the rhythm. Like, death is there and it's okay. I know it maybe sounds a little bit weird, but for me it really was. I was so afraid of dying until I moved in here, and dying was a kind of a regular thing. You were confronted on it on a daily basis. And because of that, you start to appreciate life a little bit more, because you know that time is valuable, and you know that eventually there will be no time. Even though it's kind of weird, I appreciate life now more because I've been confronted with death so much over the years. And that leads me actually to part 2, which is why I think everyone should experience it. Because in today's society, I do feel that we get so caught up in our own life, and we kind of become disconnected from what makes us human. And death is such a natural part of what makes us human, and connection is such a natural part of what makes us human. Because you connect with people that is in their last phases of life, that connection becomes a lot more important, because you know that that time is valuable. So you as a person become more present at that time and in that place. And through that relation you get with people living in a retirement home, you become more connected to what it means to be a human, which is here now, and the connections that we get and the relations that we get. Because you become more present in time, you kind of appreciate, you slow down a little bit, because at an elderly home, there isn't any fast pace. You have time. You're not going anywhere right now. And the people that live there has to be there. So you slow down a little bit, and it makes you appreciate not everything going in such a fast pace. And in today's society, that is really hard because everything goes in a fast pace. You consume a lot and you have to consume more. And you talk with friends and then they are so busy and you have to do 20 things at the same time. And you have to be a good brother, you have to be a good friend, you have to be a good child, you have to be a good employee, you have to be a good blah, blah, blah. So everything is always demanding something from you because there's only 24 hours a day. You have to do all of these things through a limited amount of time. But when you enter an elderly home, where the people there are just there and they talk a little bit slower and they don't have a lot of things to do except being present at this time, it makes you breathe a little bit and it makes you slow down. And slowing down, I think, is really valuable in today's society because I see it a lot. People are not slowing down. Actually, people are more stressed than ever. And when you slow down and you meet life at its most purest thing, then I also feel death becomes more a part of it, just becomes a feeling of that's okay. And it's okay when you see that people are struggling, and it's okay because they are now not struggling anymore and you appreciate the time that you had with them. It's hard to explain because it's more of a feeling than it kind of transcends into some words, but I do think that is the best way of putting it. And the third thing is how being that close to death changed the way I'm living today. And as I've explained, I think a little bit, death seems really scary, and it does, and I don't want to die. I really enjoy living. But when you're confronted with it, you have no option then to accept it or become resentful. And because I was so confronted with it, I started to have more accept of it, and it made me live it more intent. It made me appreciate the relationships that I did have. It made me appreciate the time that I do have, and it made me appreciate my habits. It made me appreciate kind of everything a little bit more because I did see what small habits had for my whole life. It made me question some relationships I do have today and some relations I don't have anymore because of this experience, and that made me more fulfilled as a human. And it really is interesting because talking with people at their final chapter of life, they have a lot of insight into life itself, and a lot of them are just happy to share their knowledge, and a lot of their knowledge really hit home with me because I did see where that knowledge came from, and being able to share life experience with someone that has lived a long life, sitting down, slowing down and listening to them, it gave me more a sense of being. And so being this close to death made me live more in accordance with who I am. And so 3 key lessons that changed how I live today, and hopefully it might shift something in you as well. One thing I did see is that bitterness lingers and honesty frees. I did see some people at their final chapter of life that were really angry or bitter, and not because of any cognitive issues, but because of relational issues that they just hadn't resolved before their final chapter. And living in regret or living in resentment, it settles, and it settles in the way you look, and it settles in the way you talk, and it settles in the way you are. But being honest, when I saw people that always were honest and they had been honest with the relations, they lived with no anger almost, they were more freely. It was kind of a way of looking at how people walked. The people that were free throughout their life, they walked kind of better than the ones that weren't. And so if there is one key point, at least, I think that you should take away is that bitterness lingers and honesty frees. So be more honest on your day-to-day life, I think, is really important. And as I explained a little bit, lesson number 2 is your habits will carry you when nothing else can. I think it's really important because people who aged well weren't always just lucky, they were consistent. And good food, daily movement, meaningful relations, tiny choices becomes big over time, and they matter a lot. And so just having that kind of point of view when you go throughout your life, I think is really meaningful. I do think we should be a little bit more aware of the habits that we have now. The small things that we do today can become big tomorrow. And the last thing is, and I think I said a little bit about it, third lesson, presence beats performance. And what I mean about that is nobody cares if you're impressive. What they remember is how you made them feel. Whether you look them in the eyes, is where you listen to them, it's that you actually showed up, especially when things just got quiet in a sense. Not to be there to be impressive and to show off, oh, I did all these amazing things. No, just to be there, be present, listen, talk, and slow down. Presence beats performance, and it's something that I have with me now throughout all my relationships. I don't have to impress, I just have to be. So it's really hard to summarize 5 years, and I know there's a lot more I would like to say, and maybe I will in another video. But if you want to explore more out of life, maybe you would like some of my other videos. Maybe, for example, this video right here, where I talk about the 5 W's that gets you moving when nothing else will. So until next time, I see you.